Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I am great. And yourself?
Fabulous. Coming up later on the program today, we're going to be visiting with Cheryl Tan. She's the author of Sarong Party Girl. Now, this is a book that I gave you a copy of the book. Have you had a chance to read it yet?
I have not.
I have not either, but I did flip through it. It looks really interesting. It's a novel, and her first book, I don't believe, was a novel. I guess we're going to chat with her and find out what this book's all about. But she was a journalist for many, many years with like the Wall Street Journal, and very, very accomplished author, a very accomplished writer, rather, and now she's got this book that she's the author of. So excited to chat with her. 142-year-old sheep farm in Australia puts a show on for tourists where the sheep shearers demonstrate synchronized shearing to music. So if that's something you've always wanted to see, it's now available in Australia.
They must be really hurting for entertainment.
The worst time to wake up is before 5 a.m. The best time, your heart health says best time to sleep in is until 7 or 8 a.m. According to researchers from the university hospitals in Kyoto, Japan, they've concluded that early risers have a higher risk of developing heart problems. So
You need to sleep in.
I know. I need to sleep in.
We both need to sleep in.
All right. We'll do that on Sunday. How's that sound? All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday, July the 14th, and today is International Nude Day. That's why we're doing our program nude. No, we're not. We're not really doing it. Can you even imagine?
People are trying to eat.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry. No, we're not really. But it is International Nude Day, so I dare you to go to work nude. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
And if you do that, it wasn't my idea. It is National Macaroni and Cheese Day.
I like macaroni
Funny
and
thing
cheese.
is, when I'm nude, I kind of look like macaroni and cheese.
Ew.
I'm just kidding. I don't know what that means.
That's disgusting.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either, but the visual image is just
it's
horrifying.
Kind of not good. Hey, it is also Shark Awareness Week, and we haven't been talking about that. Now, Shark Week was just on Discovery Channel not too long ago, so wonder why Shark Week and Shark Awareness Week are not on the same week.
I don't know.
Sharks kind of ripping us off. They're getting 2 weeks. Anyway, get out there and celebrate on this Thursday, the 14th day of July.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond Lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. You put your right fist in, you put your right fist out. When you think of controversial music, you probably don't think of things like the hokey pokey, right?
No.
Maybe think of gangster rap or heavy metal or something, but a Louisiana town considers the hokey pokey sinful.
What?
The American Civil Liberties Union of Louisiana,
Oh, good Lord.
they filed a lawsuit that challenges the recent actions of the sheriff of a Louisiana town who arrested a roller skating rink owner and his manager. So in this case, Heidi, I think you'd probably be on the side of the American Civil Liberties Union because they're the ones that are standing up for this guy who was arrested. They closed down his skating rink because he was playing objective music. They objected to the popular music he was playing. In addition to Snoop Doggy Dogg and other current music, the sheriff also seized copies of the Hokey Pokey, the Chicken Dance, and, believe it or not, Jingle Bells.
Okay. He probably sees the whole music library, and those just happen to be among the titles in the music. I can't imagine that he would say Jingle Bells.
There was a fist fight in the parking lot outside of the skate zone. Again, this happened in Louisiana. The sheriff believes the music inside is the reason they had the fight outside. So he went in and took all the music that he thought was objectionable, and Hokey Pokey and Chicken Dance were on top of the list. You could be right. Maybe they just took it all.
I think he took the whole music library.
All right. I don't know.
But to arrest the owner, that's not right.
It's a bit much. And I don't understand. I can see where they need to have some sort of control over what's going on in the town, but to take away the music that they're playing at a skating rink because of a fight. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how all this
Well, it depends
stuff
on what
works.
kind of music. I mean, it's hard to say what the songs were that they were playing in there. Just because they grabbed
The
the
hokey
whole
pokey.
library doesn't mean that he wasn't playing something
There you go.
that really will anger people,
I get it. We'll see if we can get some of that coming up for you here
We
in a
should
bit.
do an interview with that man. I'd kind of like to find out what exactly went down there.
All right. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Maryland police arrest a woman for a DUI twice in less than 5 hours. This is somebody who clearly did not learn her
Good
lesson.
Lord.
Now the
Well,
thing
what was she doing back on the street if they had
take a listen to
arrested
this.
her once?
Police arrested a Woodbine, Maryland woman twice in 5 hours on charges of driving under the influence of alcohol. She's 20 years old, which I think is also illegal because don't you need to be
Right,
21
gotta be
to
21.
drink? Maybe that's different there. I don't know. She was swerving across lane markers and failed to stop at a stop sign. Officers stopped her. Police said she was driving under the influence of alcohol. She was released on a DUI and other motor vehicle charges, and almost 5 hours later, they saw her driving again. Maryland prohibits anyone from driving within 12 hours of a DUI arrest. They stopped her and charged her again with another DUI and other offenses. She was held on a $25,000 bond. So she clearly didn't
I
learn
can't
her
believe
lesson.
that they let her out. Don't you have to stay in in
no
most
idea.
states? I believe you have to stay overnight
I've
once
never,
you've been arrested.
I've never had
for...
that happen to me.
I
thank
haven't
goodness.
either.
I'm the designated driver.
But
quite
I
often.
know many people who have, and they're stuck there overnight.
That's probably a good idea. And this young lady didn't learn her lesson. But kids, that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Never try to outsmart your kids, especially when it comes to computer stuff. In Britain, Stephen Williams became fed up with his daughter's messy bedroom, so he set up a website featuring photos of her room, trying to shame her into cleaning up her room. Mr. Williams' website proved to be quite popular. Several disgruntled families from all over the world were, going there to check out this naughty girl's messy bedroom. Well, about 40,000 people have visited the site in 2 weeks. Well, Dad's website spurred the daughter into action, but not the action he was hoping. Claire did tidy up her room, but with the help of her father's friends. The 20-year-old student also started her own website. They displayed photos of Dad in a variety of compromising situations. Williams said they managed to dig out photos of him dancing around with a handbag at a party. They put pictures of his messy garage online to show that Claire got this because her dad is messy too. So he had a messy garage, and then he put photos of her messy bedroom online. So a little tit for tat right there is what they did. And now he's the one that got shamed in the long run. So kids are kind of smart. You might want to come up with a better punishment next time.
And his friends helped her?
They thought it was pretty funny. They're like, oh, your dad thinks he's awesome, huh? Well, take a look at this. Here's a photo of your dad dancing around with a purse.
Wow.
So, well,
With
that's-
friends like that, you don't
Yeah.
need enemies.
We've got your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Delta pilots mistakenly landed at an Air Force base in South Dakota rather than at the civilian airport a few miles away.
Oh.
They were pulling in and they landed at the wrong airport, at the Air Force base. So, I believe that was in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Medical experts say...
What was there some repercussions for that?
I have no idea.
or-
That is the end of the
That's
story.
the story.
That's
that
what I
was
got.
That was fascinating.
Thank you. Medical experts say taking selfies where people lean their heads in close to somebody else, this is actually contributing to the spread of head lice. So there's a lot more people with outbreaks of head lice because of selfies where they're sticking their heads together to get photos.
You know
taken.
what? Every time you take a photo, you're sticking your head close to somebody. Typically, you're getting all nice and close. Doesn't matter if it's a selfie or a regular picture. So
No.
that's ridiculous.
Selfie take
Maybe more people should get off their devices and clean themselves a
That's
little
a good
better
idea.
so that they wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Do
If
that.
they're
Take
not
a shower.
bathing.
Yeah.
That's probably the
Well,
problem. People are
selfie-
too addicted to
Selfie
Sorry.
story 2 right here. After a Canadian tourist was almost killed falling down a 250-foot cliff,
Yikes.
Croatia's mountain rescue service has urged tourists to stop putting themselves in danger, quote, taking stupid and dangerous selfies, end quote. The service wrote on Twitter, "Dear tourists, we respect you. It's time for you to start respecting yourself. Stop taking stupid and dangerous selfies. Thank you." So there was a Canadian tourist in Croatia that almost died falling 250 feet.
That's been happening a lot, though.
I know. People are just, if you're going to take a photo of yourself, make sure you look around to see if you're going to get hit by a bus first. Because didn't we read a story where somebody got hit by a bus?
Yeah, someone got hit by a bus. And,
There's all kinds of
don't
people
stand in places where you're going to fall off a freaking cliff.
No, that's a bad idea. Researchers in Germany found that exposure to traffic noises increased the risk of suffering from a heart attack. They found that the noise from main roads and railway lines can lead to cardiovascular disease like myocardial infarctions. I'm pretty sure I got all that right.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
They're saying that you might get a boo-boo on your heart. So, there you go. Hey, a West Virginia mother was recently charged with child abuse after she allegedly punched her teenage son in the face during an argument at a Taco Bell over a burrito. The 15-year-old had apparently ordered the wrong toppings on mom's burrito and got a fist in the face for it. Yeah, that really happened. So next time you think you're a bad mom, just remember her.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's bad. Authorities in Chile were called to rescue 2 men after they tried to leave a restaurant without paying. Why did they have to rescue them? Why not just go capture them? Well, they were easy to capture. The 2 men ate at a place, and then they ran out the door after getting their ticket. They didn't get far. They fell down a nearby hillside.
Oh, wow.
Dozens of rescuers were needed to pull them to safety. They were trying to get away without paying the tab. Well, they got to pay the tab, all right. New study finds that we are more mentally alert in rooms painted bright colors like bright red and bright yellow. So we should redo this place and make it bright red and bright yellow. Mentally alert, bright red, bright yellow? Is that why every time I go to a McDonald's, I'm always like, I'm mentally alert. I want to get some more food. You think there's something to that? I bet they knew that when they painted.
Actually, red is a color that makes you want to eat.
Does it really?
Yes. That's why they use red.
Do we have a lot of red around? Because I'm always wanting to eat.
That's why if you think of any fast food place, red is in the color scheme.
See, I never really thought of that. The Indian arm of South Korea's LG Electronics has began selling a TV with a feature that says it repels mosquitoes. It can, these mosquitoes spread diseases like the Zika virus and malaria. The TV's Mosquito Away technology uses ultrasonic waves that are inaudible to humans but cause mosquitoes to fly away.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty darn cool. I've got a link to that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. A Virginia man with the nickname Murderer faces an attempted murder charge after police say that he shot another man. And his nickname is Murder.
That's probably how he got his nickname.
Could be. There you go. And we're going to have one final story for you here. I got like 6 of them, so I'm going to figure out which one's the best one. How about this one? I don't know if it's the best one. It's the shortest. A report says Americans commuting to work lose over 3 billion hours sitting in traffic every year. I think that's all
combined.
of us together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, boy, you got one
number.
heck of a commute. All right, that's going to do it for your Scoop of the Day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at PoliticalStorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out PoliticalStorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. We got a special guest joining us today, the author of Sarong Party Girl. We have Cheryl Lu-Lien Tan, and I'm excited to chat about this book. It looks like a whole lot of fun. Cheryl, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on the program. Now, first of all, let's talk about Sarong Party Girls. Now, what does the name Sarong Party Girls mean?
Well, Sarong Party Girls refers to a type of woman that exists in Singapore whose main goal in life is to meet a Caucasian or expat man and marry him because it's a step up in life, or she sees it as a step up in life. And the term actually has its roots in our colonial times. We were a British colony for many years. And back then, the British soldiers would have parties, and the local girls would come, and they would wear sarongs, and so it became this term that sort of referred to women who preferred socializing with and dating expat men. And so in Singapore, you'll see, what we used to call SPG bars, because we would say, the Sarong Party Girls go there to meet white men, and so I was always fascinated with that subculture. Of women sort of, the climb and getting married and marrying a white man, and in this case, the status symbol being, an expat man, an expat husband. So just sort of that whole subculture.
Now, in the United States, would there be a group of people here that you would maybe associate them with so people would understand? Is that like the Paris Hiltons, the people that are out partying all the time? Is that the same kind of thing or completely different?
Well, I mean, they do go to bars and clubs all the time as well, but they're not of that social strata. They tend to be sort of, middle class or lower middle class, or and they're people. I think the back flap or some of the press materials says this book is like Emma set in modern Southeast Asia, and it is in a way. I mean, you look at all the Jane Austen novels, and it's all about marrying well and marrying the right person and station in life, and this is exactly what this book is about as well. Although it's set in modern Singapore, and it's set in this sort of very specific subculture within the country. Not every Singaporean woman is an SPG, but SPGs do exist, and so it's kind of a look at just sort of this strata of women who see this as a way to kind of move up in life. And
now the book, again, Sarong Party Girls, it's available right now. How long did it take to put this together? Does it take quite a while to write a book like this? Yeah, well, I started writing this book in spring of 2012, so it's been 4 years in the making, and it was an absolute pleasure to write. When I first started thinking about this topic, I thought at first that I would do it as nonfiction, because I was a journalist for many years. My background is in journalism. My first book was nonfiction, and I thought that this would be a nonfiction book as well. But when I sat down to write the proposal for it, I started it wasn't coming out right, and I thought, well, why didn't I have all this research? Why didn't I write it as fiction just to see how it feels? And I had the first chapter within a day or two, and I thought, let's just keep going. So now you've got another book, A Tiger in the Kitchen. Is that fiction as well, or is that nonfiction? That's nonfiction. That was my first book, and it was a food memoir about traveling back to Singapore, where I grew up and my whole family still lives, to learn about my family and my culture and reconnecting with my Singaporean identity and history by learning how to cook. Because when I was a child, I never wanted to cook, because that was for my mother's generation. You had to learn how to cook to be a good wife. And so I was like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to have a career. And then later on, when I lived in the States, I'm like, I don't know how to cook anything that my grandmother made. So that book was about a year that I spent traveling back to learn sort of the secrets of my family in the kitchen. Very nice. Now, how would your time as a journalist, I see that you were a journalist with the Wall Street Journal and other places, how did that time help in putting together a fiction book? Did it help, or did it not help? Oh, absolutely. I've always thought that the best fiction has to feel very real. It's all in the details. It's all in constructing this very real world. And so, as a journalist, I've spent years being an observer of life, of people, of behavior. What are people saying? What are they thinking? What are they doing? What do their actions mean? And so when it came to putting this world together, creating the world of Sarong Party Girls, and Jazzy, this 26-year-old woman who wants to create a better life for herself, I sort of had to think back to, what does this market feel like? What does it smell like, in the morning? What is it like to sit in a coffee shop and, there's that uncle smoking cigarettes, 3 seats over, it just sort of, a lot of that detail really had to come from, my years of, going through the market with my mother, or sitting in an old school coffee shop and sort of observing everything around me and putting that level of detail into the book and really bringing a place to life that probably a lot of American readers may not have seen, because a lot of the scenes in this book are very intimately Singaporean. They're places that tourists
don't normally go. And so I had to really sort of bring all that to life. And, my years of being an observer as a journalist, I really came to a fore there.
Now, something you were mentioning is, this might be something that a lot of Americans might not relate to as far as, seeing this with their own eyes. Something that I had never heard of with my own ears is this Chanel baby.
Chanel baby, yes.
Now, what in the world is this Chanel baby?
Well, Singapore is an incredibly, like a lot of New Asia, Hong Kong, etc. It's a very materialistic society in some ways, and the focus is a lot on status symbols, like are you carrying the latest Chanel handbag? Do you have the latest Prada wallet, etc. And so when I was home researching A Tiger in the Kitchen, actually, was when I started to see a lot of SPG, Sarong Party Girls, around. And one of my friends actually said to me, she said, well, the ultimate goal is to get a Chanel baby, right? And I'm like, what is a Chanel baby? She's like, it's a baby that's half Singaporean and half Caucasian. It's the Chanel of babies. So the moment she said that, I said, I've got to write this book.
Yeah. Well, I'd never heard of that before. So I wonder if your book is the first place that's in print.
That may be the case, because I've actually never heard anyone else say it apart from my friends. So,
that's
so
fun.
It's very, yeah. But I think it really sums up sort of the ultimate goal for the Sarong Party Girls in my book. It's like the Chanel baby. That's the sign that you've made it. It's like it's not moving to the Upper East Side. It's having that Chanel baby.
Oh, they're going to be hot this Christmas. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Wait, I
right.
might not have time between now and Christmas, I guess. But you do have time to get out and get a copy of Sarong Party Girl. Now, Cheryl, where can we find copies of this book?
Oh, everywhere. I hope. Well, you can get it at your local bookstore for sure, Barnes & Noble, online at Amazon, etc. So you should be able to get it pretty much anywhere you want. If not, call me. I'll send you one.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. This sounds like a really fun book. Like I said, I have a copy here. I've not yet had a chance to read it, but I've flipped through, and it kind of sounds to me like just what I was looking at. Are we going to fall in love with Jazzy? Is she going to be like our favorite?
I hope so. I fell in love with her. I couldn't get her voice out of my head, so I hope she pesters you as much as she pestered me. So.
Well, that's always good. When you read a book and you fall in love with the characters, that's usually a pretty darn good thing. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you again, Cheryl. We appreciate it. And the book, once again, is called Sarong Party Girl. It's available right now wherever you like to buy your books. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you buy lottery tickets? Maybe you wait till the jackpot is big, then you buy one. I was like that too. Like my odds got better because the jackpot was more. Well, I think I found something that actually will give me a better chance to win. It's called Lotto-licious. I learned about this from Richard Lustig. He literally wrote the book on how to win the lottery, and he should know. He's a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Richard plays and endorses Lotto-licious, and I just signed up too. I'd love it if you join Richard and I. You can play Powerball and Mega Millions without even going to the store. Sign up right now at RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Honey is the only natural food that is made without destroying any kind of life. So
that's cool.
If you want to be, like the super ultra vegan, you got to eat nothing but honey. And I know what you're saying. What about milk? No, a cow has to eat grass to produce milk. So grass is a living thing. So honey, again, is the only natural food that is made without destroying any kind of life. I don't make this stuff up. I just read it. So if you know of something else, I guess you'll have to tell me. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is kind of weird, but Michael Jordan makes more money from Nike annually than all of the Nike factory workers in Malaysia combined.
Oh, wow.
So all of those workers combined make less money than Michael Jordan for playing basketball 20 years ago. So,
wow.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is going to take the rest of our fun facts because this is fascinating. Spiral staircases in medieval castles run clockwise because all knights used to be right-handed. When the intruding army would climb the stairs, they would not be able to use their right hands. They were holding, they couldn't use their sword.
Oh, yeah.
The climbing of the stairs on a spiral staircase, you kind of need to hold on to something, so they would use their right hand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And how do I know that all knights were right-handed? Because if you were left-handed, you could not become a knight. I didn't know this.
I didn't know that either. That's
You
awesome.
could not become a knight because it was assumed that left-handed people were descendants of the devil.
Ooh.
Yeah, that escalated quickly. So there you go. I had no clue. I learned two things in that one fun fact. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
56-year-old Alfred Pfizer walked into the World Savings Bank in Miami, Florida, walked up to a teller and demanded some money. The bank teller told him there were no envelopes to put the money in, so Pfizer pulled out an envelope from his shirt pocket. Unfortunately for Mr. Pfizer, he also dropped a business card and a blank check. So he didn't realize that he dropped those things.
Wow.
He fled with an undetermined amount of cash. Police
People
used
do that
info
all the time.
on his card and his check to arrest him. Later that day, they charged him with a bank robbery and grand theft.
We talk about that all
I
the
know.
time.
And it's not the same story.
No,
It's a bunch of
people
different
are
stories.
stupid.
There are a lot of people that are dumb that rob banks. As a matter of fact, I've never, ever read a story about a smart person that robbed a
Well,
bank.
because those people don't get caught.
They don't do stories on those? Is that
If
what
they're
you're saying?
smart, you're not going to... I mean, they could do a story on it, but they'll be like, we don't know who they are because
I've
they
never
got
read
away
that
because
story
they're
yet.
smart.
Apparently. Hey, speaking of...
Actually, smart people don't rob banks.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That was my point, but thank you for trying to just say no.
I'm
they
just
get away
saying
with
they
it.
couldn't do a story on someone who did get away because they wouldn't have their info is what I'm saying.
Well, they could say, hey, they robbed the bank and they got away with it. But you don't hear that very often because they almost always get caught. Speaking of robbing things, a bandit tried to hold up a Jacksonville, Florida supermarket wearing a paper bag over his head with eye holes cut out so he could see. He couldn't see very well. He had to keep moving the bag. While he adjusted it, he tore it, exposing his face, and a checker
wow.
recognized him as one of their regular customers.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a darn
unfortunate.
shame. Coming up, we've got a story where she was armed with a leg. Let me tell you how that happened in a bit.
Hey, this is Tim from Hope and Faith Machine Works. Are you having one of these days?
How in the world am I going to do that?
Or even,
If I could just have this, my life would be so much easier.
well, this kind of stuff is my specialty. At Hope and Faith Machine Works, we work with anyone who needs something built, fabricated, or just done right. We've done medical, industrial, PLC, and prototype designs. You can reach us at yourhopeourfaith.com. That's yourhopeourfaith.com.
This is just fascinating to me, this story. This lady was literally armed with a leg. She's a beautiful amputee from Brussels, Belgium. She woke up to find an armed man crawling into bed with her. Angela England grabbed the only weapon she had close by, which was her fake leg. She clobbered the intruder with this artificial leg, beating him, quote, until he was unconscious, end quote. So she beat the snot out of this guy. She says that she hit him in the groin, in the head, and anywhere else she could hit him. Once he was knocked out cold, Angela called the police, and the man was arrested. So, can you imagine that? So, she literally was armed
That would
with
be
a leg.
really scary.
That would be, what, to have somebody...
To be laying there and there's some guy.
Yeah, I think so, too. It would also be scary to have somebody beating the snot out of you with a leg. So.
Well, that's why you don't break into somebody's
understand.
house. He totally had that
He
coming.
certainly had it coming, but I think it's cool because that headline makes you wonder. She was armed with a leg. You're like, armed with a leg? What? But it does make sense now that you know it, doesn't it?
I figured it was with a I mean, how
Well,
else?
now I know.
It's not like you're going to chop somebody's leg off and then...
You just never know. All right, we got a story from Germany coming up here in a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Dusseldorf, Germany. It's just a fun place to say. Dusseldorf. We've had other stories from
We
Dusseldorf. This one is a criminal mastermind that had the misfortune to break into the house of a dieter who was really, really hungry, apparently. As the burglar was going through the house, he apparently worked up a little appetite of his own. He opened the refrigerator, and that's when his troubles began. To discourage snacking, this homeowner had equipped their refrigerator door with an alarm that went off whenever the door was opened. The alarm was there to discourage this person from eating, but it also helped discourage this convenience as well.
Yeah.
By the time the homeowner made it from the bedroom to the kitchen to find out what was going on, the burglar was leaving the house and taking off. So that's a pretty darn good idea. Have to get one of those and maybe just put it on your front door next time. Keep them from coming in the house even. All right. Fun little story there from Dusseldorf, Germany. I got one more opportunity to say Dusseldorf. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, I got a quick question for you. Do we
Sure.
need a quick getaway?
I would love. You mean a vacation?
Yeah.
I thought you meant like, do we need a getaway car or something? Are we going to
No.
do something illegal?
No.
Yes, we do. We need a nice vacation.
Folks listening, do you and your spouse need a quick getaway? Because this is my wife that's here with me. Do we say that enough?
You say that a lot.
I just always want to make sure people understand, because otherwise it would just be really awkward. We're like, man, that guy on the radio is always hitting on that woman he works with. He's going to get in trouble. Well, no, she's my wife. I should be hitting on her. I love her. She's awesome.
Okay, what were?
Was there a
back
point
to the
this?
story?
Oh, yeah, 6 signs that you do indeed need a getaway. Mark Merrill has some suggestions on how to fix it. Says your dates or any snippets of time alone are more like family business meetings. If that's the case, you need a getaway.
Yeah,
For us, it's not just family business meetings. It's
work business meetings.
business
Every
meetings.
conversation we have.
Like, hey, you know what we could talk about on the radio tomorrow? If you can't remember the last time you did anything spontaneous together. I think we do spontaneous stuff all the time.
Yeah, we're pretty spontaneous people.
We should plan to do some more spontaneous stuff. If you can't remember the last time you woke up next to your spouse with no kids around, well, that happens quite often. Our kids don't even like us.
Yeah, they're very rarely here.
They don't want to be around you people. If you haven't spent time alone in each other's presence with nothing to do but chill out, that's a tough one for me, because I need to be busy all the time. You don't mind just sitting there with silence.
I love just silence, like no noise.
And then she married me, one of the most talkative people on the planet.
I think that's probably why I appreciate silence so much now.
Number 5 on the list, if you have a sense of lost purpose in your marriage. I don't think I have that. Do you have that?
No.
That we've lost purpose? I know our purpose.
No, but I do feel like if we're not talking about the kids or about work, we have nothing to talk about.
Oh, hey, that reminds me about the kids and work.
Yeah.
If you keep waiting for ideal getaway circumstances to emerge, and it never does, you might need a getaway as well. I've got a link to all of this, some great, helpful getaway tips for your marriage from a guy named Mark Merrill, and I've got those on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is pretty good news. In an act of kindness, students at a Virginia school received buzz cuts to support a 7-year-old peer battling cancer.
Oh, I love those kind of stories.
I love these too. According to ABC News, sadly, Noah Cross is a second grader at St. Edward Epiphany Catholic School in Richmond, Virginia, and he was diagnosed with leukemia. Oh. That was the sad part, not the fact that he was a second grader. So I put the sadly in the wrong place. So it's awesome that he's a second grader, but it was sad that he was diagnosed with leukemia on May 11th. In response, the school set it up so Noah would have a teacher visit his home daily, so long as he felt up to it. In addition, the school created Buzz Cuts for Noah, and it was a fundraiser that had Noah's teachers and peers gather to shave their heads to raise donations for his medical bills. This one event raised $2,500 for Noah. A total of 37 students from second grade all the way up to 8th grade received buzz cuts.
That's fantastic.
I've got the story at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I think that's really neat. You know, when your classmates and your teachers and everybody kind of band together and say, hey, you know what, we're thinking of you. And I understand, after it was all said and done, he still had leukemia, but he had to feel better about the fact
You know
that,
what they should have called that event?
What's that?
Buzz Off Cancer.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, see?
I don't know if I told you this, folks, but I'm married to a marketing genius. I'm just saying. Pretty proud of you sometimes coming up with stuff like that. So there's probably somebody listening right now that's going, hey, that's going to be the name of our event. Go for it. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right. Anyway, this happened in Richmond, Virginia. We've got the link at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.